Welcome back to Writing Done Right. Well, today we want to talk a little bit about why I publish things to KDP First. There are multiple places to publish your book, and I don't push them all out at every platform simultaneously. On today's video, I'm going to tell you why. Thanks for checking out this video. I am Tom Morosky, an author and a technology consultant, and today we are going to talk, as I said, why I push out my books to other places before I push them out to certain other ones. In other words, there are a lot of places that as an author, whether you're going with a small publishing company or if you are publishing your own books as a self-published author, there are multiple different platforms you can use, and I always advise you to use more than a single platform. The reason is, if you use a variety of different platforms, you can maximize your royalties. You don't want to just push everything through Ingram because that puts you everywhere and then end up losing a ton of royalty on Amazon because they cut back the royalties directly if you're not using them. But on the conversely, you don't want to publish exclusively through Amazon, who gives you really great royalties on Amazon, but then completely steals your royalties on every other platform. But if you use a combined strategy of using KDP and then one of the other publishing groups, you can maximize your royalties across every sales channel. Now, what we're going to look at here is I pulled out just a couple of the different companies. Ingram is probably the most popular group. This is the longest standard, and the main publishing groups that nearly every large major publisher uses Ingram's Lightning source. Now, for smaller publishers and self-published authors, they would be called Ingram Spark. It's all the same company. And this is, I like these guys. I like their quality. I like their speed. I like their services. And so this is the one that I use to push my books to everywhere else. Now, Lulu is another one of the very similar companies out there. I know very little about them other than they're pretty much a direct competitor to them, and apparently I cannot see their pricing. That might be something in my firewall, although maybe I don't know why. Oh, there it goes. Okay, maybe it's just something a little goofy. I do have bad internet where I'm at, so that might be it. So here you can actually print out a lot of different options easier. So if I want to do like a comic book, this might be a better place to do it than Ingram, which I'm not sure they do. And then you select your book size, whatever you might happen to want to use. They have a variety of different options in here. Here's like 6 by 9. It looks like they do not have all of the options that I generally like to use. Like I generally use, okay, I like the 5.5 by 8.5. I also like 5 by 8 depending on what I'm doing. Page count, let's say 100 pages there. And let's do black and white standard or premium. Let's do that. Black and white standard. I like cream paper usually. There's a paperback, hardcover, coil bound, and the paperback is generally what you are going to want. And then I like the, actually I like the glossy finish usually. So this tells me here that, let's see, the cost per individual book to do is $3.75. So this is not a bad deal as well. I know very little about Lulu. Maybe it's something I should create an account with and experiment with, but I personally am happy with those. Now then there is Amazon's KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. This overtook what was CreateSpace. And so with these guys here, though, you can get in there and link everything to your Amazon account. And the advantage of it is they are going to give you the highest royalty selling on Amazon, 70% for ebooks in most territories, depending on your pricing and whatnot, 60% for paperbacks, which is above the amount that you can get at Ingram on any other place, which is 55% usually as a maximum. So, and the good news is most of your book sales in this day and age is going to come from Amazon. And so it makes sense for anybody publishing books either as a publisher or as a as a independent author, it makes sense to go ahead and use Amazon. Now, I don't use it exclusively because, as I said, Amazon, if you try to, you can go in and use Amazon's what's called expanded distribution. The problem is your royalties on expanded distribution are only 25%. Whereas on Ingram, I can set what my royalty percentage is, anywhere from 35 up to 55%. Why would you do different numbers? It depends. Do you want bookstores to be able to buy your books? I think I have this whole separate video on that. We're not going to get into that. But today I want to tell you why I use Amazon and why I push all my books in print to Amazon first and then go in later and put them on Ingram, which means that the books are available to order on Amazon before you will find them at any other places, almost by up to a month difference. Well, it has to do with if there is a quality issue or some other concern that you have. It has to do with the fact that if you make an error and you make a mistake, on Amazon, I can re-upload a new manuscript, throw the book back in the queue of the printers, and then get another copy of it without paying anything extra. If I have to go into Ingram and probably Lulu, I didn't check Lulu, but Ingram and most of the other companies, if you need to make a change to your interior designs, it costs you more money. And you don't want to have to be forking out money in the event you make a small error. Now, this came up because I just published 2 books this month, one in my Christian arm and one in my science fiction arm. And the Christian one came back, and we are thinking we want to change 2 of the images, make them a little bit brighter, and we want to look at, can we make them a little bit bigger, although I'm not sure I can based on the margins and things like that. We're going to be looking at those, but basically it looks like we are probably going to upload a new copy of that book, of the interior design, get another copy in place, and then once we do that, then once that's approved by the author, then we will go ahead and roll it out to all the other places. That way I don't roll it out everywhere and then have to end up paying money out of pocket or charging the author money to make adjustments to the interior design. So Amazon gives you that ability. Now, the downside with Amazon, here is the downside of doing this, is they do not have a system by which I can put the book in there, order an author copy, and not make it available to the general sale. So it ends up becoming a soft rollout on everything, no matter what you're doing with it. But, you know, that is certainly an okay thing. As for most books, unless I promote it, nobody knows it exists. And so on Amazon, there's so many books out there. And so what I want to mention here today is I do want to use this opportunity to say, hey, I published 2 new books. I'm going to show you what those are here in just a moment and talk briefly about those books. So if you are interested in either of those, we will have a link to both of those books in the description down below. But I did want to use this opportunity, and with a real world scenario that just came up this week, we got the copy of the book and it looks great, but we just looked at it and said, I think we might want to bump up the color intensity on 2 of the images, I think, and we will see if we can make some of the chapter images a little bit larger. And with my strategy of pushing everything to Amazon first, what this means is that we don't have to pay anything extra as a publishing company, and I don't have to charge an author or anything extra in order to make those changes. And even if you're working with the big, the pay-to-play publishers, you've already dumped out $1,500 for a book deal, which you should never do, by the way. Don't pay somebody thousands of dollars to publish your book. There's many other places out there to get books published that don't charge that much. But with many of those companies, even that very first thing, if you miss something on that very first thing and you want to have an extra change, they are going to charge you that fee. Actually, they're going to charge you usually about double that fee. Gives them a little bit of profit for your mistake. So don't do that. All right. So with that, what are the 2 new books? Well, the first one is called Lily's Little Star. This is a children's book written by this is actually written by I think it's the mother-in-law of the person who edited my doctoral dissertation, I believe. Excellent little children's book. It's usually, it's good to read the book to your kids young, all the way up to, I think, 6th, 7th grade, might still enjoy reading it, and it is illustrated by a friend of mine. I have bad internet, so hopefully this part will work. But here we have the intro book there. Here's the inside, and we'll have a little bit of a preview. So these are the images that we have, and this is what the text is going to look like. So if you are interested in this book and you have a young child who might like to read that, that is called Lily's Little Star by Olive Ross. You can find that now on Amazon, on paperback, and on Kindle, and it'll roll out to other places after we get the final images in there. As of right now, we still need to get those images in, but those changes should be up there. The book is good. It's just we want to add those brighter images there. So you can have a look at that book there. The other one is my science fiction arm. This is a science fiction dystopia, and this is by a fellow content creator who works a lot in the Christian circles. So this is a dystopian with some Christian overlay. So the description of the book: the year is 2025. A new COVID variant keeps magically appearing, and the vaccine and mask mandates never went away. Vaccine passports are now a reality when the governor of Oregon issues an executive order mandating the use of the Vax Pass 9000 in order to buy and sell. The residents of a small town in Oregon, town of Hanover, publicly resist the governor's executive order. In retaliation for their dissent, the governor of Oregon unleashes the UN coronavirus task force on the town, resulting in the murder of the residents of Hanover. This is all fiction, by the way. Obviously, science fiction dystopia. One man, however, has survived the purge of Hanover. Given the strength of Samsung and protected by the Lord, John Barton is appointed by Jesus to judge those responsible for the murder of his town and is sent out on a journey that will cross paths with the UN coronavirus task force, Antifa, and the world's greatest assassin, and the evil supernatural forces behind it all. For John to succeed, he must become Hanover. So this one, paperback and Kindle as well. Science fiction, dystopian, with some religious overviews as well. So if you are interested in those books, again, those will be linked down below. And with that, though, guys, those are just a few of the books that we helped develop here and push them out onto Amazon, and then those will also be pushed out in the future. Once again, if anybody out there writes science fiction, it doesn't have to be Christian science fiction. It just any science fiction. My book Synaptergy is not Christian at all, and that's also WorldWare Press. Or if you do write Christian, I do publish that as well. You can reach out to me directly on the website, and we can go ahead and talk about what it would take to get your book printed and published out to all of the different places. All the links to these two books down below. If those interest you, go ahead and have a look. And if they don't interest you, well, that's okay too. I just want to let you guys know what we just did and how this works. And I did not show you, let me show you what the Hanover actually looks like inside. So this is a pretty big, like 68,000 words, I think. It's a pretty big novel, so we just went with a nice, easy to read font there. And so you can kind of see that. And you can also go over to the Amazon page, hit the preview, and see if the previews are enough to pique your interest. So there you have it, guys. Well, anyway, with that, I just wanted to leave you here why I published KDP First. And these books are available now on Amazon. They will roll out to other book sources within a month or two. And maybe I'll let you guys know when those roll out. With that, thanks for watching, everybody. And I hope that we have helped you to get your writing done.